Yo, coming to you live from World Championship in San Jose. Welcome to the Living Legends podcast.
And then I'm gonna start. Okay. Break. Should be good.
Should be good. All right, okay, we're starting this again. We're probably going to leave it in because it's funny, but hello and welcome back to the Living Legends podcast. I'm your host for today. My name's Az from Goarin Gaming, and as always, joined by these two lovely gentlemen, Kel and Bill. How's it going, folks?
Going pretty good. Can't complain,
Pretty
really.
good.
It's another day where we get to talk about flesh and or blood. So
Flesh and or blood, absolutely.
The blood and flesh is fairly exciting today because
yeah.
Oh, it really is, yeah.
this is actually one of the rare occasions when we're recording on like a news day, and then the podcast comes out like the day after. Normally we have like this weird like 4 to 5 day wait period, but now we actually get to talk about breaking news, and it'll be like really relevant. So woo, let's go.
Yeah, I don't know about you. It's obviously something that came to my head today. Maybe we should change it so that we are more relevant, you know, to what's going on, like when we record to when we actually release it. Because this is cool to speak about something that's actually going to happen and get released tomorrow when you're hearing this, when we're recording it. But yeah, we've got a load of cool things to talk about. Obviously, pre-releases were this weekend, so obviously we can talk about our sort of records and who we drafted and all that sort of thing. And there's a couple of hot topics as well going on today also. So I think it's a good place to start. Is our week in Flesh and Blood was probably the pre-releases. So is that a good place to start, do you think?
Yeah.
The War of the Monarch and what have you?
War of the Monarch. I mean, War of the Prisms.
Was it actually? Was that what you saw? Was it just prism all over the place?
Yeah, so I'll give you a quick rundown, I guess, since I mentioned that. So I went to my local War of the Monarch pre-release. We had a 16-player cap, but only like enough people signed up, but we just had a bunch of no-shows. So I think we only had about 12 people. So we had an 8-person pod and then a 6-person pod of draft, and we're like, should we do 2 7 people? And we're just like, let Gem do it, and then that's what Gem did. It's just an 8-person and a 6-person. And so we were talking beforehand, and we're like, oh, like these other guys were like, oh yeah, I won the last 2 locals with Prism. This other guy was like, oh yeah. And so like going into it, I was in the 6-person pod. By the way, 6-person draft, janky as hell. You see 2 less packs per go around, so your decks are way less good. Like if you have a pack that's just kind of like crap, well, tough. Like you just have to deal with the crap pack. And so long story short, 4 out of the 6 people were Prism initially. Oh no. Was it 5 out of 6 were Prism initially? And we ended up with 3 Prisms out of 6 people. Wow. I was one of them. And to be fair, my Prism deck was okay. I ended up 2-1. So spoilers, I did okay. I ended up 2-1. I lost to the person who went 3-0 with a banger chain deck because he was the only chain. But the guy sitting next to me drafted Prism because he first picked Luminaris, which makes sense. I first picked an okay Herald. Yeah, it was interesting. It was a fun time, even though it was super jank. Everyone at the table was having a great time, talking about how bad our decks are. Like everyone's decks were pretty bad. The chain person pivoted. He was Prism and he pivoted, so his chain deck was pretty good, but his pool was like half Prism cards. So like, it was jank. Multiple opponents had crack baubles and stuff. You know, it's just fun. It was a good time. I went 2-1, so I didn't win anything, and I didn't win the raffle. And then I got only 2 packs. Everyone got 2 packs of Dustodon as like prize support. And my packs were, well, I won't spoil it, but if people want to go watch the video that I uploaded of me opening them, just be prepared to be underwhelmed. Let me put it that way.
Hold on a minute. You pulled my spoiler card. And Ian's.
I did. First card as a spoiler card, and not just that, the yellow version.
Absolute yellow version. There we go. Yellow matters.
First card, turn the pack over, bam, as this card.
String of Soul. We are Soul.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, let's go. But That also is proof that I don't just upload like when I open up good stuff. I'll open
Banger
up
packs.
I just upload whatever happens, right? So
Yeah.
that's what I got. That's the genuine experience. So that's mine. I had a fun time. Kind of wish the LGS would have given us more than 2 packs of Dust Till Dawn. I've seen people who are like, we got 5, and then Jim from Fab PCG Cards were like, we got like 3 plus a pack per win, and I'm just like, ugh, man, because they had like boxes left over. They had more product. Like they could have given us more. So
Well, wait till you hear what I got, mate. Absolutely sod all.
well, hey, join the club. And in fact, that's a great segue. How about regale us with your experience?
Yeah. So I went to Mystic Games in Whitney. So it's not a local game store per se, but that's the one I go to, which is the closest. So when I get driving soon, that'll be the one I go to as much as I can. I failed my theory test as well this last week, so I've still got a way to go. So I failed on UK road signs. So I got 6 questions wrong. And there were road signs that I'd never seen before, like a bloody triangle with Ford on it. What does that mean?
I don't want to derail it too much, but does the UK have different exams based on where you are in the UK? Because so for example, United States, each state has its own separate driving test. Because I've taken the test in Oregon, which is where I first got my license when I was like 19, and then I had to get a local license when I lived in California. I had to get like a state license when I lived in California because I had to renew it, and so I had to renew it in California. So I had to take their test again, and they're different. They're different. Oregon had weirder questions because it's more rural for the most part. So I had to answer questions about like if a tractor is on the road, which side do you pass? Like weird crap like that. That if you lived in a city, you would never. Like who knows
if
what side?
If a bear runs out in the middle of the road, what do?
Don't roll down your windows.
Don't roll down the windows and don't feed it.
Yeah, just drive away. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Drive away. But no, UK just has one test, to my knowledge, just one theory test, and all the failure questions came from road signs. So I definitely know what I need to revise. Everything else is all right. I was 5 questions off passing.
One more thing about the driving that just reminded me. In the California one, I thought it was funny. You could skip questions. You had to get a certain percentage, but you were allowed to skip a couple. And so like you could just be like, skip. So the California one, I practiced a little bit, but I was just like, I'll just go take it. And it was like, first try. Oh, I don't know, this one's skip. And then once you answer enough correctly, the test just ends. Like you don't have to take the full thing. It's just like if you are like 80% or whatever it is, it's just like done. It just says you're done. But
you're done.
That's wild.
Yeah. Off you go then.
If you wonder why some of the drivers in California are bad, maybe that's why. Anyway.
Yeah. So Mystic Games Oxford. I'll be there eventually when I can drive, which is not going to be anytime soon by the sounds of it. But yeah. So we had a 9-person pod. Very strange number.
Weird.
So that we had 9 players turned up, 9-person pod. So if I didn't show up, then it would have been an 8-person, which would have been a lot better. So maybe I just won't go next time.
It's your fault. It's all your fault.
It's my fault. Yeah. So it was. I drafted Leviah straight away. I'm not very good at draft. I'm not going to lie. I don't really know what the situation is. Don't know how to read signals and all this jargon. I don't understand it. So I saw Mark of the Beast in my first pack, and I was like, this is a sign.
Nice.
This is a sign. Blasphemet has chosen me today, so I just decided to pick Mark of the Beast, and then I posted on Twitter like, "Oh yeah, I saw Mark of the Beast, pack 1, pick 1," and then someone commented saying, "Is that a good draft pick? Is it not wise to go heavy blood debt straight away?" I'm just like, mate, I don't know what I'm doing here. I just picked the card because it's got a demon on it. That's the reason.
I was this close to rare drafting a soul food, so I know what you mean.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I drafted Leviah because I thought that, Prism's the hotness. There's going to be a lot of Prism, people want to play, and, I thought I would just load up on 6 power and above attacks, just keep popping things, filling my graveyard, and then towards the end of the game, just coming in with heavy blood debt big attacks to try and close it out. That was my plan anyway, but it didn't go according to plan, unfortunately. So the first game was, well, both of the games were fairly close, to be honest. The first game was against a Bolton, which was pretty good. Got him down to very, very low health, and I probably would have killed him on the last turn, but he had an attack reaction from a Dusk Till Dawn pack. So this is another thing, right? We were playing draft with Dusk Till Dawn packs also added in as well.
What?
So it was utter chaos. We
Jealous.
yeah. So the card I got killed with was I've got it up in front of me here. It's Resounding Courage. Target light warrior attack gets +3 if you've charged. Create a courage token. So I was killed with that card, and obviously I hadn't calculated for the fact that obviously, well, I did know that Dusk Till Dawn cards were going to be in here, but I didn't know which ones, obviously. So I just played it like, okay, if you've got a reaction, I die, and then I died to the reaction. Of course I did at the end. And then the second game was against Chain, and he had an absolute blinder of a deck. And again, he played a couple of cards from Dusk Till Dawn. One of them which says, I think it was the Banish Zone's spoiler card, the one that says target card in your Banish Zone gets +3. And then Chain could play that out of his graveyard. He played that card twice, so he came in with a I think it was a Bounding Demagon for 10 go again, and then he came in with the Galaxy Black after that, and it was just ridiculous. So yeah, more Dusk Till Dawn cards being utilised in Monarch draft is probably not the way it was supposed to be played, but it was fun nonetheless. But yeah, so I got a buy on the last round because obviously it's 9 players, so I just got obviously an unlucky draw there with not playing the last round because we had 9 players. But yeah, it was a good time nonetheless, and it's just good to open the packs really and see the cards.
Yeah, dude.
So
there were 0 Bolton players at my pool, by the way. None. No one played Bolton. No one played Bolton. And when we get down to like the last 3 or 4 picks, they were all warrior cards, and we were like making jokes, and I'm like, oh, let me guess what this is, and I would literally just turn up the whole thing. I'm like, warrior cards, and it was just like a bunch of warrior cards. It was a fun draft, but no one played Bolton.
Yeah, we had a few players there, and the only reason why that guy was choosing Bolton was because he'd never played with... A lot of us in that group don't really play with Monarch heroes, or never played with Monarch heroes. So so this guy was just literally playing with Bolton because it was the warrior of the set, right? So because he plays Dory or Kasai or whatever. So that's the only reason why he chose it.
Did you get any good pulls?
Which is fair enough.
Other than like...
no, not really.
Yeah. I got past the Celestial Cataclysm, so that's the one Majestic that I got. Didn't even open any, so...
Oh, yeah.
I got past the Celestial Cataclysm. Didn't play it. I used it to block another Prism's attack once. And I'm like, I'm gonna pop in, like, does that work? And I was like, yep, it's a light card. It is not an illusionist card. So, haha. Yeah. How about you, Bill? How was your...
Yeah.
Did you even go to one?
I actually didn't even have an opportunity to go. So
Damn.
yeah, I just sort of was sitting on the sidelines watching everybody else have fun with the set. But yeah, I'm mostly just looking forward to it being Friday so that I can go get my case. Because yeah, I'm rip roaring to open packs.
I got
July 14th, baby.
I got
a couple of days time.
7 cases. No, not all mine though. 4 of them are 4 of them are mine, and 3 of them are for supporter unboxing kind of things.
Nice. Yeah.
So, but I still get like a cool 16 boxes to myself, sort of, more or less.
That's content for a while, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's actually interesting. It just occurred to me, like, Flesh and Blood's becoming closer to Magic in some ways, because I've seen some other content creators who just happen to have stores to just start like posting a lot of like box opening content, even though the set's not even out yet, right? And I feel like that was a thing that, like, when I was like into Magic, that was a really big thing, that you'd see just a ton of box openings like weeks before the set actually came out because of the stores just opened up all their pre-release stuff or whatever. And you're starting to see that with Flesh and Blood now. So if you're not Fluke Inbox and don't own a store and also have a YouTube channel, then like good luck like being first to market on that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It just gets out there, doesn't it? So some stores will sell people the boxes because they've got it in store and they'll just open it and stuff, you know, even though they're not supposed to do that, they will still do that. And it's hard to really sort of keep a tab on that as LSS, isn't it, really? Because they've already got it in their hands, essentially. So stores just want to sell it, don't they? So it's hard to gauge, really.
All my stores are too damn ethical.
Yeah. That's good, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait for Bill to get his packs either, because he's going to be building all of the new heroes to fight against Azalea in the Azalea Ringer series at some stage.
Nice.
True. This is true.
So, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, that's obviously some good times with the pre-releases, the new cards. Obviously, that's due out on July 14th, so that's coming up very soon. So make sure you stay tuned to everyone's stuff, because everyone's going to be opening some things.
Yeah, I want to mention something really quick. I read it this morning, I think, and it was a post from ICV2 that had been shared a couple of places, and then apparently, James White or LSS, but through James White, had made a statement that the War of the Monarch pre-release was like their biggest attendance yet for a release weekend, for a pre-release weekend.
Yeah.
Which to me is really interesting because I've heard a lot of folks that are kind of in Bill's situation. Like a lot of people that I know who normally go to the pre-releases just didn't for one reason or another. So to me, it actually felt like it was less like attendance. But apparently, this is the record breaking for them. The number was 17,000 is what the number in the article.
The fact that it's a supplementary release tied to a pre-release that's not even. You know, it's not like you're getting a sealed pool where you get 6 packs. You're getting. I saw 3 packs. That's all I saw of Dusk Till Dawn. The rest was Monarch.
I got 2 packs, and they were bangers.
Yeah, absolutely full of spoiler cards from friends all over the place. 2
foil commons, 4 rares. Yeah.
Let's go.
Red Zone Rogue, Red Zone Rogue, Red Zone Rogue.
Everyone who watches the video gets to share the disappointment with me.
Oh my god.
Anyway, but
yeah,
I thought it was interesting that it was like record breaking. I wouldn't have guessed that. So I don't know. Maybe that just means that there's a lot more people playing Flesh and Blood, which I think is true. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was for this set in particular. I wonder then if every new subsequent set's going to be record breaking. You know, like I wonder if they're on if they're on such a trend where it's just like every new one is going to be more than the last, which is I guess is what you want, but yeah, just something to think about. Yeah,
nice. There's another bit of news as well recently with regards to because I just owned my mistake with this because I put a video out. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be the first one to talk about the new Blitz update, and suddenly I realised I'd misread the whole article and I was wrong essentially. So this is the new Blitz update, which I'm going to actually deliver properly this time. But it is an experimental period of time where they're changing the Blitz format rules for deck construction. So have you all had a chance to look at this?
Yes. I read it over and I watched your video and I watched DM Armada's video. And he has a little bit of a controversial take, but I'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Do you see this as well, Bill?
Yeah, I did.
Nice. So this is basically a way of combating certain matchups. They do go into the reason why. Like, you know, if you're sick of losing to Kano, you can now put in copies of Oasis Respite and all this. And what it basically allows you to do is, instead of it being limited to 40 cards in your main deck and 11 equipment/armor, you can now have any cards you want, 52 cards essentially, with your hero aside from that, which allows you to just put in cards and sideboard essentially in a game of Blitz, which is what a lot of people didn't have the access to do before, because you just had to turn up with the 40 cards in your deck plus whatever equipment you chose to bring, whether that's Null Rune, Courage of Bladehold, whatever. You can now make it so that you don't have to pack certain bits of in equipment. You can just go with actual cards instead, which I think is much better. But I don't know whether Blitz should be that or not, because it's just a fast game. Do we need that in Blitz? Do we think, or not? Because is it competitive? Is Blitz supposed to be like hyper competitive meta choices and that?
Okay, I'll just go. Okay, so I basically I'm like 50-50 on it. So I don't really think Blitz needed this, to be honest. I didn't think Blitz needed to be tiny CC, which is kind of what it is with this change. It's just like mini CC, right?
Yeah.
In which case you can shore up your bad matchups and your, I don't want to say bad deck building, but you can shore up your greedy deck building and bad matchups with a sideboard, right? And that's what the sideboard lets you do. It lets you be greedy all in, and then you can be like, oh, if I have a bad matchup, then I can sideboard in to shore that up. Whereas Blitz before is you had to be very thoughtful and build your deck in such a way that it was competitive in the meta at large, right? You had to be good against all the decks or just kind of like take your lumps, right? And I think the biggest example of this is Kano, but also Riptide, which gets absolutely dumpstered. He was already not good, and now he's like way worse if people like tech against him. I think they used the example like Burdens of the Past, where he just becomes really bad, and he was already bad. So it's like some heroes just get wrecked. And I in a little chat that I'm a part of, Ian was just like, he's just like, I've scrapped my Riptide deck. Like I can't play it this skirmish season. It's just gonna be terrible. I'm gonna lose like all the time. He's just like, it's not worth me trying to do that. So like, yeah, I think Blitz previously rewarded people for building your deck in a very smart way prior to starting the actual games, whereas this is more of a safety net, right? And I always felt like Blitz is more of a format that it punishes you for mistakes, whereas CC is more lenient. And I think that's why people like CC more. You can mess up more, you can be risky more, or you can fail on your gambles more. Is a better way to put it in CC, right? You have like this buffer. Yeah, you have this buffer space. Whereas Blitz, you don't really have the buffer space. If you mess up, you might just die. Like you just might like lose the game. So it takes away from that, which I think a lot of people are gonna like. So like that's the thing. Like I think the changes are going to be very well received by a lot of people, but I also think those are the people who don't play Blitz normally. I think the people who like CC are gonna be like, oh sweet, this is just like CC.
Exactly my thought. Yeah, so I don't really play much Blitz. I'm like, oh yeah, this makes it kind of like CC, but that's just me who doesn't play Blitz really.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I'm like, I didn't make a video or talk about it or anything, but I'm just like, I'm like 50-50, I guess. I think overall people are gonna like it. So my opinion is that people are gonna like it. Whether I like it or not doesn't matter as much, I guess, but I think people overall are going to end up liking it. I think it takes away from what Blitz like is. Like it makes Blitz less of a unique format and more of a tiny CC. And in DM Armada's video, he even talked about how like they practiced this format before, like in his Discord, and they found it to be like not great because the sideboarding makes just some decks terrible, like Kano, for example. If you're like, well, I lose the Kano, well, scoop in all of my Oasis Respites and all that kind of stuff that just absolutely crushes Kano. So, yeah, I don't know. that's my opinions of it. I mean, I usually don't have time to make it out to events anyway. The deck that I play in CC is Lexi, and would I do a sideboard? Yeah, it would just be against Kano. Like, what matchups do I die to? Well, Kano usually kills me, so I'm just gonna be like, okay, I'll just have Oasis Bites for Kano, and maybe I'll have a couple extra things, maybe a couple more D reacts against like dominate classes or whatever. And yeah, so
yeah,
people.
I think that it's interesting in that it, like you're kind of saying, neuters a lot of what Kano wants to do and Riptide specifically as well. But the thing is, with some of the decks that I was playing in Blitz, and I don't know, it's been a while since I've actually seriously tried to play Blitz, but there were situations where it's like, you built your deck for what you anticipated the meta to be. And then especially when Icelander was a thing, it was like you had this deck that was tuned to, try to help you survive against like Fi and Dromai and whatever. You had like defense reactions, even for like Brood or Guardian, and then all of a sudden it's like you face up against an Icelander and you have all these defense reactions that don't do anything. So like it was just kind of awkward because the games are so fast that you could just sort of lose to your own deck building there. But that's just me kind of playing devil's advocate on it.
Yeah.
I will say this about Blitz in general, because I know a lot of people don't like that it's fast. I actually really like that it's fast, but this is coming from someone, me, who I used to really like Legacy and Vintage and Magic. I like the fast formats. I like that it's just like everything just all at once. You got to do it now or it's going to be over kind of thing. I like your slow grinding games too, but that's what other formats are for. And I feel like that was Blitz to me. It's like, it's called Blitz for a reason, right? It's supposed to be fast, and I'm like, Blitz is like the legacy of Flesh and Blood, sort of, right? Because it feels like really powerful, really fast, and everything just is boom, boom, boom. And whereas CC is like an hour long, you have this more like methodical. It's like, chip damage here, chip damage there, block, 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 block.
Unless you're playing against Channel Mount Heroic Briar.
Well, yeah, but even then you can be like, ice or whatever, but you could be Oldhim. Let's play, but
yeah,
you could be Oldhim, yeah.
Yeah, you'd be Oldhim. Well, yeah, but anyway, so that's just the way I feel about Blitz in general, and I think a lot of people who don't like Blitz are people who like CC, and they like that CC is like slow, and you can make mistakes, and there's like that buffer space that Blitz doesn't have. Right. It feels like, I don't want to say different games, but it's like it definitely feels different, right? Blitz and CC feel very different to play. Whereas we'll see how it is now. It's probably still going to be pretty fast, but
yeah, I don't like the fact that obviously in CC you can take a load of damage and then still set up and do something back, which then can still put you on the tempo, etc. You can't really do that in Blitz. There's not enough room. I've taken 15 to 18 damage and then suddenly been able to come back into it as a result of what I follow up with in a game of CC before. So you don't have room for that, unfortunately, especially in certain classes where you need to do that. But
I think Blitz rewards folks who know how to block really well and know how much damage that they can take in relation to how much damage that they can get back, right? Because if you can calculate that really well, then you can still take the damage and then still come back and then win the game. And if you miscalculate that, then you just die, right?
yeah.
Which is,
but then there's also the fact that was the game, like, was all the cards that were made, were they really made for a 20 life total, or were they made for a 40 life total? Was it really sort of balanced for that, or?
So here's my question. This is the kind of being a dick question.
Oh no, I love a good debate. It's all part of the part of the thing.
My question is, does it matter? Like, does it matter that the cards weren't balanced for that if this is what the format actually is now? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
in like, so initially they did actually make Young Heroes initially, but so like when Flesh and Blood first came out for Welcome to Wraith, Blitz didn't exist. In fact, Blitz didn't exist until Crucible of War. And what the Young Heroes were for were specifically for Limited. That's where you played the Young Heroes. They're for learning and Limited. If you have one of those old Welcome to Wraith like hero decks, it'll tell you that. It's like, oh, you can use your young hero for limited and for learning. Which is why
wow.
Ira is very, very good in Blitz, because Ira was not made like with Blitz as a format in mind.
It's more of a teaching tool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say like everything possibly after Crucible might have had Blitz in mind, but they didn't actually make a Blitz a thing until Crucible of War.
I never knew that. Never knew that at all.
Yeah, it was really interesting when they were first like launched Blitz. It was actually very, very popular, and apparently, according to stats, is the most played Flesh and Blood format, because a lot of new players go towards Blitz, partially because the starter product is Blitz, right? It might be a thing where it might be a thing where like that's the case just because the starter product is Blitz, and so therefore it's kind of like the default. But because we don't have CC starter product anymore, we only had the Welcome to Wraith one. But yeah, like Blitz and CC for me just are like not very different, but like quite different. They feel very different. I immediately went back on what I said. They do feel very different.
Yeah, that's the thing, and it needs to be different, I guess. But I think Blitz is definitely the most played, because obviously it's the easiest to get into, isn't it? And obviously that's another thing as well. If they change this, if they change the Blitz makeup and the thing as to how you construct a deck, does that make all of the products that are in the pipeline that already been released defunct because they're not actually Blitz decks anymore?
Yeah, so I don't know. So there's two things. There's two things that I was thinking about with this. So the first one is that, yes, and if they make this a thing going forward, will Blitz starter decks also now have sideboards?
Yeah.
But the other thing, probably not, because Blitz starter decks don't have the 11 card inventory either. But the more interesting thing to me is I can't help but feel that they did this specifically for Leviathan Redeemed, which you can only play from your inventory. And Blitz, previously, you were not able to play with Leviathan Redeemed with the previous Blitz rules. And I can't help but think they were like, oh, damn, we have Skirmish season coming up. And one of the most popular cards from the set is like not
one of the legendaries is unplayable.
Like actually, like you cannot play it in Blitz.
You can't play it.
So like, let's do an experiment and see if this will work. Kind of thing. So
maybe
that's my like tinfoil hat. But yeah, like as a company, you don't want like the most exciting card from your set to not be playable in like your format that you're pushing out immediately after the set, because let's get real here, and I'll get real as a content creator. I think Mansant's spoiler video for Leviathan Redeemed is the most watched spoiler video for spoiler season. His beat mine, his beat Dear Marmada's, his is the most watched, right? And I don't think it's like close. I think his like mine has a couple thousand. Stevens has like also like several thousand, a little bit more than mine because he did like Vincent. And then Mansant's has like a lot, like over 10,000, I think.
Right now it's at 7.4.
7?
So
okay.
Still
lower than
really
I thought.
Good.
Like because like mine is like close to 3K. I think Stevens is like 4 or 5K, and then his is like 7K. So like I don't think it's like guesswork where I'm saying like I think this is the most exciting card from the set. I think just is. It just is. It's cool.
I think also it's because it was going around on Twitter as well, right? Like because obviously the people who were deducing that it's like blah 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 in the lore text, Leviathan Redeemed, and then he replied to it and then made a whole tweet about it, and then people just started figuring out that this could be a new hero, and then suddenly it was.
This is how spoiler season works. Hero videos get way more views than anything else. They get way more views than legendary videos. They're just the big things. So like it makes sense. And not only is his a hero video, but it's like an underdog hero that has a brand new card type, and it's also a legendary. It is like the mega trifecta of like excitement for Flesh and Blood. Like, new hero. Also, it's a legendary. Also, it's a cold foil Marvel that's double-sided, and it's like this underdog hero. So
Oh, just wait for Azalea for that, please.
And
Fantastic.
then they're like, here's skirmish season. You can't play with it.
You
Like,
can't play it.
yeah.
Oh shit.
So like, yeah. So I think that's a big part. That's a big part.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. I mean, that's another thing as well. I think people are starting to experiment with it. I think FAB have added it to their sort of deck building things, and people are starting to build it already.
I can't help but so I know a lot of people who play CC are like, oh, this will make the games more fair or more like back and forth. And I don't know if that's true. It might make it more swingy. Like it might make your matchup, you're like, instead of like, dumpstering them, you might like really crush them. Like instead of the Kano doing a little bit of damage, it's like now they do no damage, kind of thing. Like it might turn the tables like even more so. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. You might just sit on. Well, if you drew an Oasis Respite against Kano, you're just going to sit on it, aren't you, the entire time until you just wait. You just wait for them. You just swing your weapon. If you're Bravo, you're just loving life. You just sat there, just A-Bing things, and then just sitting on the Oasis, waiting for them to go off. But then they might also clock the fact that you're doing that as well. So that could even make it a little bit more. It's like, oh, he's that's been sat on his ass for ages. That's got to be an Oasis Respite.
Yeah,
I
definitely think that this makes certain classes that were kind of just all arounder classes better, because like classes that don't have any like bad matchups are just like better. Like it's like hard to tech against them. But it makes like heroes like Kano much worse, where they do have like cards like Silver Bullet cards that just wreck them.
He just wants to do the one thing, doesn't he? And that's it. And nobody could really stop him before, unless you would. That's another thing as well. It's about your meta as well, almost, isn't it? It's about attacking who you're going to play against in your local game store. It's been able to pack stuff against that deck. Because if you go to somewhere else, the stuff that you've packed might just be utterly useless because you don't know who you're going to run into. So it could also help the ecosystem of the local game store as well if you are teching in things in and out as to who's doing what.
I do think so. I've been kind of like I said, I've been like 50-50 on this, but I do think Blitz does have one pretty negative thing when it gets to like competitive levels of Blitz, and that is it can be a really feel bad for new players, because it's not like CC where once again you can make those mistakes. If you make these mistakes in Blitz, you just die. And it doesn't like sometimes it doesn't even look close. Like sometimes you die and like it's bad. Like you die real bad. So like imagine like once we keep using Kano, but imagine playing against a good Kano pilot and you're like a fresh flesh and blood player and you don't AB the right things or something, you just will die. Like on that turn when they're doing their Kano stuff, you're actually just dead. And so I can see that side of it. I think Blitz is a much more punishing format at the competitive levels for casual players, ironically enough, because you're talking about how casual people are probably the people who play Blitz more. But I do feel that it could be a little more punishing.
What do you think, Bill, with regards to someone that makes like regular Blitz content? Do you think that this could be incorporated into content going forward, like sideboards, and maybe having that conversation in the content as well?
Yeah, I really think so. It starts getting into the type of content that I don't know that we're necessarily super interested in. Just that like. Then you're getting into sort of more of the competitive side. You're getting into this is sort of how like there is some value to it, especially because the thing that we're trying to do is highlight a specific deck and how it functions within certain matchups. But I don't think that we're really going to be worried about that as much. It also just like makes the filming days longer. Like we're sitting around trying to think about like what's the optimal way to sideboard. Like
that's true.
It's such a low value proposition that I think personally we're probably not going to do it. I can see why other people would, like Fabrica They're
Yeah.
sort of more about competitive stuff. So I think that if they still do Blitz content, forgive me, I don't consume a lot
And
of
they do, yeah.
yeah, I don't consume a lot of like flesh and blood content, as weird as that is. I
Too
do
busy
just like
doing our own.
yeah,
Not wrong.
I do just like not gameplay content as much,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting transition for people. I mean, it is. I think they've sort of mentioned that it is going to be it's in a testing period right now. They're just trying it
Yeah.
out for the current skirmish season.
Yeah.
So it might be something that ends up working out and people like it, but yeah, I think it just makes the gap between certain decks that much more pronounced. It makes it so that the really good decks now have the ability to tech themselves against other decks, and the really bad decks are still probably going to be really bad. Because
Riptide.
in yeah, in like a lot of situations, like a sideboard doesn't really help out, like especially against Riptide, where it just completely annihilates them, and there's just kind of nothing that they can do about it. There's no sideboard for the sideboard tech that you're going to be seeing, and a lot of the time it's just kind of free to add it. So I don't know. It's going to be very weird. I don't really know how to feel about it quite yet, even though we've just been talking about it. I do see the positives, but I also do see the negatives. Personally, I'm happy that Kano is seeing a hit just because I personally don't like playing against Kano,
I mean,
but that's my
Yeah.
own bias.
okay, so like no hate on Kano. I think Kano's an interesting hero. But like who likes playing against Kano? I know there's a ton of people who love playing as Kano. It's like a cool like, puzzle to solve every time you're doing the Kano stuff. But like when you're sitting across from Kano, who's like, this is so much fun. I love playing against Kano. it's not even if you're winning. So like when I'm playing against Kano, and I played against a lot of Kano because DM Armada plays a lot of Kano. For me, I'm usually playing my Lexi, and it's either like I kill you or you kill me, and it's like I attack you for lethal, and then he's like, okay, let me do my thing. I got to see if I can kill you, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna sit here. It's like playing. I don't want to bring up Magic too much, but like if any people have played like competitive Magic, if you've ever played like Modern back when Storm was a thing, it's like playing against Storm. You're like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna help you count your stuff so we can just get this over with quicker. It's like yeah. Like, is your grape shot count up to 18 or 15 or whatever it is like that needs to be to kill me? Okay, cool. Like that's kind of what it is for Kano, right?
Yeah.
And
so
But it's just one of those things. It's just like where does this end with Flesh and Blood? Because at the moment, if you look on the website, Blitz is still okay. 40 card deck, 11 cards in the inventory.
Mm-hmm.
But now there's a period of time where that's not the case. What happens if CC becomes this? If it's like okay, CC you got 80 cards or whatever it is, and then during the competitive season you can have 83. In this time, so they just keep shifting the goalposts as to what competitive play is and what you can and how you should experience it with the amount of cards that you have. That's just a bit of a dangerous thing, isn't it?
I don't think they're gonna touch CC. Like I don't think CC's getting touched at all. Like
I'm just giving a weird example. It's probably not going to take it. But
I think the way they think about this is you're still playing with the same number of cards. It's just they're changing what you're allowed to have in the inventory, right? Because previously you could have only equipment and weapons, and now you can just have whatever. And not only that,
there's actually one more. You get one more card because you get one young hero plus 52 cards.
And also your deck size is not 40 anymore. You can have
more. That's right.
You can have
more.
more.
That's a point we didn't even make in this whole shebang. We didn't even say that. So just went off a tangent straight away.
You could technically run more. I don't think it's going to affect fatigue at all. Like Blitz is so fast that I don't think it's going to matter all that much. Especially since like Drone of Brutality is back anyway. So like, I don't think it mattered. But I don't know. I guess that's important to note. Like maybe some people do want to run 43 cards or whatever.
I love running extra cards. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. You're
But yeah,
you're the commander player who puts your deck together, and you have like 103 cards, and you're just like,
I'm
whatever.
just like, yeah, I'll play the whole thing. Sod it, why not?
I just won't tell anyone that it's 103 cards.
Yeah, exactly. Deck
Yeah.
checks, nah, it's alright, it's fine. It's only 80, 103.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, it's a very, very hot topic at the moment. It's going to be interesting to see how it pans out with regards to the experiment. And I apologise to everybody who watched my video because I was absolutely wrong, and I made the correction of just marking my video. This video is wrong, but I'm going to leave it up anyway. Lol. So
Okay.
you can watch it if you want. But yeah, so I was under the pretense that this was a change from it's not what I didn't realize it was an experiment. I should have read the article really. I just saw, okay, players can submit a deck list that includes one hero and 52 cards. I was like, holy moly, need to get a video out, but I was wrong. But
I'm curious to know what the viewers and listeners think about this, and if you make a comment, please let us know if Blitz is your main format or not, because I'm mostly curious to know what Blitz players think of this. I think CC players are going to be like, I love it. Like, I think everyone who's like CC's their main format, they're like, I love it. But I want to know what like Blitz players feel about this, because me as a Blitz player, I like Blitz. I think it's close for me. I think CC and Blitz are both really close. They're different experiences, and it's like up to my mood, right? If I want to have like a hour-long game, I'll play some CC.
Yeah, I mean, for you, it just depends on how much time you got, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like,
of the time.
I have favorite decks for both. I have Uzuri for CC. I have Lexi for Blitz.
Get out of here,
but
Zuri.
hell yeah, brother.
Get that sensor out of my ass.
I can't wait to play that. It's gonna be sweet. But I gotta get rid of some 2 blocks, and now I have more 3 blocks in the deck too. It's gonna be great. But yeah, so I'm curious to know what like Blitz players feel about this. I'm like pretty. I basically what I said it before. You know, I think it makes the format feel less like Blitz and more like CC, for better or worse, right?
Yeah. It could be worth like maybe doing a few streams, like, you know, Blitz gameplay with, you know, these rules, just to see if it does make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be
as
down
well.
for that.
So yeah, but hot topic. So be interesting to see where it goes. And obviously, they're going to be doing a survey after the season concludes to see what people thought about it. From the comments and stuff that I've had from various locations, it seems to be that the main majority of people do want it or are for it to happen. But we'll see what the majority says. And as you said, Kel, if there's people listening to this on YouTube, leave a comment as to what you think. That'll be good.
Email us too.
As Blitz players,
you can email us at the Living Legends Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a very hot second after we speak about this news, which just dropped today, literally an hour before we were meant to come onto the podcast, and that's the World Championships has been finally revealed as to where that's going to be and when, which is brilliant news. So everybody now knows it's going to be in Barcelona in Spain. Vamos.
What did I was gonna say something, but I don't want to say it wrong. Hold on. Keep going.
But yeah, so this is November 16th to 19th this year. It's going to be in Fira de Barcelona something or other. I can't pronounce it very well. Apologies for any Spanish listeners out there. But yeah, obviously you're going to have the World Championship event, you're going to have a calling there, and you're going to have a battle hardened there. So similar to what went down in San Jose, you're going to have the World Championship, obviously the invitational event, you're going to have a calling, which actually the calling in this one is going to be sealed deck and booster draft, so it's going to be interesting. And then we got battle hardened being CC event as well this time. There's no Blitz being showcased after that massive Blitz spiel that we just went on. There is no Blitz at Worlds this year. Interesting.
I found what I wanted to say, though at the timing isn't. I was just gonna say, in the words of Pro Tour champion Pablo Pitor, ole!
Yeah.
He his
Fantastic.
his tweet about it is just he just says "Ole" with a bunch of E's. And he just says
Nice.
can't wait to welcome all of you to one of the best cities in Spain. Awesome news. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Downright.
That's sweet. I'm excited. Spain was one of the cities that I was, or one of the countries that I was like, this would be really cool. And Barcelona in particular is pretty sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't wait to go. It'll be awesome. And I think we are pretty much all confirmed to be going here on the Living Legends podcast, I would say.
I have 100% intent to go. Put it that way.
Mhm.
That is.
Yeah, I have already booked the time off of work, so I am just in the process of making that a reality, making the trip itself a reality.
Absolutely.
So.
And it's a Tuesday when we're recording this, so when I go back into the office tomorrow, even though it's 12:20 at midnight, so going to be getting up to go to the office in 7 hours, I'm going to be putting in that holiday request.
Hell yeah, dude.
To make sure I can get out of there.
I just need to get my passport set, and then I need to start researching all of the good Spanish food, because that's what's most important to me.
Yeah.
And drinks. Hey, if you're from Spain and you're listening to this, what's like a really good like traditional Spanish food and drinks? I'm more of a drink guy than a food guy, so yeah, what are the good drinks? Like,
I'm gonna need to go where to get that sweet alcohol from. That's for sure.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
But yeah. So finally, it's everyone. It's out in the open now. FabTSG.com website. World Championship Barcelona, November 17th to 19th. So just a quick overview on the formats here. I think I briefly went through them just now in that spiel. But the World Championship event is Classic Constructed and Booster Draft. So I imagine the Booster Draft is going to be Monarch. No, it'll be the new set. Will be the new set, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Because
I saw something that
I think it'll be set 3 for the year. Yeah, because so okay.
Mm.
So how the Flesh and Blood releases work? It's like every 4 months, and Dust Till Dawn comes out this month. It literally comes out this week, and so by the time Worlds runs around, I think we'll be 1 month into the next set, right? I think that's how it works.
Which is a draft one, yeah.
Yeah, 1 month into it, because it's in 5 months from now, about right? Math and stuff, time. So it'll be whatever that is. I'm guessing Mysteria, but we'll see.
We'll see. But yeah,
the thing that I was thinking about was there was an announcement today from the official Flesh and Blood Twitter that the Nats booster drafts are going to be using Monarch first ed.
That's pretty cool.
Which I thought that was that for a second, but yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, especially for folks like one of my friends who was sitting not exactly diagonal from me. It was a 6-person draft, so it was weird. But he's a good friend. He's a judge, and he last pack first picked Phantasmal Footsteps, which is pretty sweet. Like he was drafting Levia. He was the I think the only Levia drafter. And I luckily dodged his deck because he said he had 19 poppers. And I was like, "There's no way in hell." It was like, "There's no way in hell I could play against your deck." But he's like, "Yeah, last pack, Phantasmal Footsteps." I'm like, "Dude, you more than paid for this draft." Like, yeah. Well, so if you're lucky, you can get a cold foil.
I heard that. I heard the term value drafting going around the table. That people were like, it's nice to know that you're not value drafting." I'm like, what does that mean? Does that mean you're just hunting for the money in the packs rather than the actual cards you need for your deck?
I was this close to drafting Soul Food. That thing's like a $5 card now.
You're a value drafter. Get out of here.
But I'm like, I was already Prism, and I'm like, this is like beyond optimistic. There's like, I could draft this and I could technically put it in my deck, but there's no way in hell it's gonna do anything. Like, other than like maybe if I draw it turn 1, but other than that, it's just like not doing anything. So,
but you can't Arsenal and play Soul Food, can you? You just put all the cards in your hand into the Soul. You can't Arsenal anything. Is that right?
Well, you can Arsenal.
All your stuff goes in.
you can Arsenal Soul Food and then play it your next turn to dump 4 cards into your soul. You could do that.
Oh, okay. But then you won't. Yeah, what I'm trying to say is you won't have an arsenal after you play Soul Food.
No,
because you just put nah.
Yeah. Unless you have a ponder
The only
token somehow.
way the only way you could do that would be if you had a ponder token as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's a way to do it.
But I mean, like, so you could feasibly do that with New Prism, right? Because you could get the Figment of Erudition that generates a ponder token, and then you get Soul Food, and then whatever, right? Or I mean, you would Soul Food in the Herald, and which would generate. Yeah, you Soul Food in Heralds, which lets you search for the Figment. There we go, and then you get the ponder.
Right. Yeah.
Order of
Magical Christmas
operations.
land interaction, baby.
Turn one.
Oh
baby.
no. Does Prism care about a Herald going into Soul, or is it when it's not when it hits, is it?
Nope.
No.
It's just anytime a card with a Herald in its name is put into your soul, you may search your deck for a Figment and put it directly into play.
There we go. So there we go. So you go get the ponder thing, and it means you can Arsenal a card after you Soul Fooded. So you're still going to have an Arsenal on your draw up. So there we go. That's a bit of spicy Living Legends tech for your Skirmish.
Except for the card that you drew is the new Fabled, and you're like,
it's a new Fabled.
Damn.
You Arsenal it. Oh, brilliant. Oh.
We didn't talk about that in the last episode either. The new Fabled, and then the legendary, the reprint of the Crown of Providence.
That's right.
Good Blocky Crown. I like. There's Money Crown and Blocky Crown. This one's Blocky Crown.
Yeah. I think that's pretty good. It's needed, isn't it? I think so. I don't know whether that's impacted the price of it at all. Is it? I don't know.
I hope so, but I think it's funny because the same thing happened with Arcanite Skullcap. And then they printed the crown, and no one wants Skullcap, and now the Skullcap reprint was kind of pointless, and Skullcap's like a $40 card or whatever.
Mad! That's crazy how that's changed.
Yeah,
it used to be the go-to, didn't it?
Well, even after it was launched, people like would comment. They're like, oh, "I don't know. I think Skullcap is still better," and I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
The other one gives you card advantage. I don't know. The card advantage is pretty good. What's the other thing? Oh, the what is it called? The Light of Soul or whatever? I don't know if I have
Light of Soul, yeah.
Yeah, it's a gem. It's a yellow pitch gem, and I think when you pitch it, it goes into your soul, right?
Yeah. You reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's yellow, it goes into your soul.
Okay. Sounds pretty good for Bolton, actually.
Yeah, I actually really like it for Bolton.
Yeah.
It's like pretty strong, honestly.
It doesn't count as charging because charge is its own like specific keyword thing, but still having the cards in your soul is still pretty good. For like his hero ability and V for the Vanguard and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, and like for Prism, if you put a Herald into the soul.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Like you get a free trigger, and you've paid 2. So you might have had you might have at least 1 floating. Then you only need to pay 1 to flip your Figment up. Easy.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
What's actually really interesting about it too is that you don't have to. It just says you may. Like even if it is, you don't have to. Which I think
don't have to. Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. This is me maybe being a little biased. I don't think this is as good as Plague Hive, because Plague Hive also yellow pitch, but you like it has a board presence. Like you give your opponent a thing, and this one is like you maybe get a thing, and maybe you don't get a thing. I suppose if you're putting this in your deck, you probably have a very high chance to hit.
Yeah.
Are you so like Prism and Bolton players? Are you putting this in your deck? Like Bill, are you putting this in your deck?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's gonna be good, but I'm gonna do it for sure.
I'm putting in there.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because like, I mean, that's how I feel about Plague Hive, to be honest. Like, I feel like some of the time it's like very good and could win me the game, and others it's literally gonna do nothing. Like, sometime I'll pitch it and I'll give them an inertia token, and they don't have an arsenal and wouldn't have an arsenal, and it doesn't matter at all. Like, yeah, or like it'll give them a frailty, and like they're never gonna play a card from the arsenal, and they're not gonna swing their weapon or something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, when it hits, when it gets the mode that you want, which impacts the game the most, it can really swing a game. Like especially if they've sat on their arsenal for a while, and then you give them an inertia, and suddenly they have to rethink their entire turn or whatever, or the blood rot is within range. You know, that's happened to you at your pre-release, wasn't it? You killed someone with blood rot.
Yeah, I killed someone with it. Yeah.
So
like on their on their turn, pitch it to do an instant to give them a blood rot, and then they didn't have anything left after the attack, and they died. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
I'm sure there will be many stories to tell with the Light of Soul, and when you get that Light of Soul off and you demolish your opponent with it, you know, for glory, we are Soul. You know, the story's going to be there to be told.
I can see some stuff. With like New Prism, putting a Herald in there and then tutoring for something that you didn't plan ahead of time, and then, like now you have this figment that you didn't plan for. I don't know. I could see some things. I don't know.
Because cool. when you pitch, what you said, Bill. When you pitch this, you go and get, if there's a Herald on top, you put it into your soul. Then your Imperium Rapture will be active, so you can turn up the thing for free, and you still have one left, which is magical Christmas landline again.
I'm really looking forward to New Prism.
The tricky part with this is like it's a pitch card, so you have to have a reason to pitch. Like you can't just do it because you want to. Like so you have to be pitching into something. But I don't know.
Yeah,
seems cool. I mean, like I'll be playing with it. I do plan on making. I don't know if I'm making Bolton, but I'm definitely making New Prism. And if I open one of these, I'm definitely putting it in my deck. But I like playing with Fabled just in general. Like I like Fabled, and it's not because they're worth money. I like them because they're like kind of jank and just kind of neat. I'm like, put this weird, neat jank thing in my deck. It's cool.
Yeah. And a Light of Soul got pulled. A Cold 4-1 got pulled at my pre-release as well.
Oh, wow.
So
nice.
Fair play to them. They just managed to pay for their whole sort of experience that day and more, I might add.
I've seen them going for about $200.
Yeah,
that's what I've seen people. I imagine they'll be around Plague Hive price. I think, maybe even less. Depending on how good it is. Okay, so here's the other thing. I think it's better than this, but I just want people's opinions. If you are a listener, you should comment this as well. You can comment 2 things. It's all good. So like, what do you think about this in regards to the other talent? Fabled. So you have Corsham, Library, Blood of the Drakai, because the other ones are class based. So or generic, because the other ones are the Guardian one and then the Rogue Assassin or the Assassin Ranger one. So what do you think? Like this stacks up against like Blood of the Drakai, for example. I think this is better.
Viscerai's got one as well, haven't they?
Yeah, that one's a weird one. That only Viscerai can use that one.
Yeah,
that's a strange one. But
I like this card. I don't know. I think that it's sort of in the same general vein as like Library, where you get like some amount of value. Library was also like not all of the time, so
yeah,
I don't know. I kind of liked it, and I kind of like this too for sort of the same reason.
This card does make your greedy plays like way better. Like setting up for turns where you get to do the new attack reaction where you can like banish 3 cards or banish up to 3 cards and get the effects, and this just helps you stock up cards into your soul. It's like guaranteed. It's like a guaranteed way to put stuff into your soul too, which is also interesting. Which is for Prism, like most of the times you do that, it's either with I guess soul food, but hitting with heralds, and you can't always guarantee that. I don't know. It's interesting. I was actually really hoping it would be a shadow one though, to be honest, because like we already had a light one. Now light has 2 fableds. Where's the shadow? Where's the shadow fable?
Where's the shadow location, which is Solana destroyed? Where is the upside down location? We need it.
I would like to point out that the other living legends gentlemen don't actually know what I put for the background today, and it actually is the crimson blood moon thing.
Oh yes, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Sweet.
yeah, it's cool.
But yeah. We've got one last thing, and that's to go to the mailbox for today. And if you want to sort of send us your thoughts, comments, and questions on what's going on in your life with regards to Flesh and Blood, or just any sort of tales that you have for us, then email us at thelivinglegendspodcast@gmail.com, and we can read these out, and hopefully we'll see you in there at some point. But today's email comes from John L. And the interesting subject, saying, how about an episode about how the art sausage is made? I don't know what that means. but the email makes more sense, but I don't know about the subject there. The art sausage, interesting. So John says, hey guys, first, thanks for the weekly podcast. I really enjoy it and listen the moment it releases each week. Cheers, John. Let us know if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, etc. I have a small request/suggestion. I would love to know how the art all comes together in Flesh and Blood. It would be cool if you could have a guest on to talk about how the art is created with a new set. Example questions in my head. Is it all contracted out? How far ahead of launch? How much? What kind of guidance is given to the artists? How much creative leeway are they given? How much information about the actual card, if any, are they given? Do they have any specific artists for specific characters or regions, etc.? Now, I know we've spoken a long time about getting Sam Yang on for this podcast, but you've actually done a video with him on your channel, right?
It's a really long video too. Sam and I talked for like 2 or 3 hours. It was like a 2 or 3 hour like interview.
That sounds like an LL Pod episode.
Yeah. but it is true. We do plan on getting Sam Yang on at some point. He's already agreed to come on. It's just kind of like a timing thing. So yes, your answer is yes, we will have that,
we'll do that
sometime. And when we do, we will post about it. I'll probably post about it on my Discord and on my Twitter, and I will like solicit questions from the community. So that would be the time to ask like the things that you really want to ask. And I think Sam at this point now, I saw he's now like the assistant director of art. Like, I feel like he's got like a fancy title now.
More of like a oversight as to what happens in art rather than doing it himself situation. Which is good.
He's an illustrator for Flesh and Blood, but he's the assistant art director and senior concept artist at Legend Story Studios. So it sounds like he's kind of like the second in command behind maybe Robbie Wen for Flesh and Blood art. So,
yeah, so stay tuned, John. Obviously, if you're listening every week, obviously you'll know when we're scheduled to do that sort of thing. And John also expands as well, saying his background, much like you, I love the art in this game. In fact, in front of my desk, there is a 6'5" life-size Dromai Uprising banner poster that my LGS gave me. Since I've been the main local Dromai player, I always played Dromai before she was cool. Fair play. As you can see here on the YouTube video as well, Kel's just panning his background on his webcam. There's Lexi.
Big old,
also hovering around there.
Big old Lexi. You can't see it, but that's a 2 of 10 signed canvas from Federico.
I'm just going to finish off what John said here as well. I love collecting the awesome playmats and posters and such. I'm just so curious how all the art comes together for the game, and I think others might be interested as well. So yeah, definitely stay tuned, John, because we are going to be doing that at some point. And he says, thank you all again for all of you what you do. By the way, Kel, your fab enthusiasm really came out in the last episode. There we go. I'm not sure what episode that was, because obviously this is maybe a few weeks old, this question. So I'm not sure what episode John was referring to there, but your enthusiasm really came out in that aforementioned episode.
I do love Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
Here, small pro tip: if you actually want the posters and stuff, go to your LGS and ask them if they have any that they're just sitting around or that they're planning to throw away. Because sometimes they'll just be like, "Here you go." Like, we're gonna throw them out anyway.
Mm.
I know some LGSs will have like old armory posters that are like way like, from like a year or two ago that are just sitting dust that they, yeah. So I've gotten some posters, like Flesh and Blood posters by doing that. So
Yeah.
don't expect
every
anything, but
every LGS I go to, I'm like, do you have any Azalea posters? And they're just like, nah, we chucked them all out because she was trash. I'm just like, no. They're all nobody believed in Azalea, and suddenly all the posters are gone. They've been burnt, and they're just fodder at this point.
That's the thing. As you should just live here in Oregon because Discs and Dice, Travis from Fab Foundry, he's the owner, and he's been an Azalea diehard ever since Arcane Rising, and he has the giant Azalea full art banner up in the gameplay area. There's Azalea, and he's got some other heroes. Yeah. But Azalea is like kind of like by herself. Just he's like, ooh, Azalea.
Yeah, I'd love that, like above my bed, like when I'm going to sleep at night, just so I can look at it. Anyway, cheers, John, for your question. What was you going to say?
I was like, do I have an Azalea one? I actually have 2 Arcane Rising posters, like armory posters for Arcane Rising. I don't think I have Azalea. I think I have Dash and Viscerai specifically.
Not bad.
Yeah. I used to have them up in the studio before I started like putting up other art and stuff. But
yeah. I do have the before we close it off, I do have the one that Ian sent me. It was the Christmas one where she's opening the socks.
Oh,
I've got that one as an armory poster. Because Ian sent me that one.
Nice.
Cheers Ian for that. Sent me the Right Time Goblin as well. Haven't received the Quick Ian tokens yet.
Oh,
from the Quick Ian tokens. Oh, brilliant.
I actually got the Quick Ian tokens, but that's
Did you actually?
I did, but that's because he sent me some stuff for a different reason. Some folks at his local LGS wanted me to sign some Grand Archive cards. They wanted me to sign my collaboration card. And then send it back. And I told him I would, so I'm just like, yeah, just send it to me. I'll sign him.
Korhazi Courier, is it, or something?
Yeah, these are like first edition ones. One of them's a foil. It's actually pretty nice.
Nice.
And I'm gonna be sending some other stuff back to Ian. He likes the My Hero Academia card game, and I have some, and I'm literally not doing anything with it. So I was just like, hey Ian, do you want it? Like, you could literally just have it all. Like I'm not gonna look at the prices. There could be some good stuff in there. Just take it, man.
Yeah.
I have a lot of card games.
Yeah. Well, we've spoken a lot about Flesh and Blood today. We got a bit of time for an Arsenal step. If anyone's got anything in their arse today, Arsenal. Sorry.
Realistically, just hype for Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
Like as sort of mentioned previously, we're going to be putting together, or I'm going to be putting together as many of the decks as I can from the new set. And we're going to be basically doing a very brief hiatus on Az's streams, just so that these cards can come out and I can make some decks, and then we're gonna hit CC Azalea versus the new guys, basically right after that. So I'm really looking forward to that personally. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to honestly Vincent.
Let's go.
Obviously, I'm looking forward to Prism. I'm looking forward to Prism a lot because I think her deck is just really cool. But like,
I'm not.
Vincent's mechanics, yeah, I'm not so too surprised about that. But just Vincent's mechanics in general just seem like really nutty.
I mean, like the widespread cards. I don't know. They just really speak to me. It might be the part where they banish your arsenal, or there might be the part where they banish your hand. But I don't know. They just really speak to me.
Oh, you love that nonsense, don't you? Just get rid of the Arsenal. Get rid of your hand. Yeah, I mean, just take that card away from you. You mean man.
Yes, I do. Yep. All I want to do is just deal a bunch of damage to you, and then also rip cards out of your hand, whether you like it or not. So, like, is that too much to ask? Is that too much to ask?
Yeah.
For me, Arsenal step. I've been playing Final Fantasy 16 very slowly. I really like it. It's a lot of fun. Very different than other Final Fantasy games, but I'm enjoying it.
Of course,
It's cool. And everything looks awesome. And then I'm currently playing 5 trading card games. So
Yeah.
there's Flesh and Blood, there's Grand Archive, there's Alpha Clash, there's Sorcery, which is lovely. Sorcery, very fun, like casual experience. I've made a video about it. Don't spend $800 on the box if you just want to play. Just wait and buy the $40 starter thing. But and then the final game is the one I'm really excited for. I'm gonna weeb out I'm gonna try to make it short. Okay, make it short. So one of my favorite games for like the last, I don't know, 6 years or so has been Shadowverse. I love Shadowverse, the digital client. I love Shadowverse. I love the characters in Shadowverse because it's Cygames stuff, and Cygames also does Rage of Bahamut as well as Grand Blue Fantasy, and I love the Grand Blue Fantasy manga. And some of the figures I have back here are from Grand Blue or Rage of Bahamut. So I have like a Dark Dragoon Forte. Actually, I have 4 figures. I have 4 figures from that. And Shadowverse Evolve, the physical trading card game version, just launched last weekend, and I am so stoked for it. I am playing it 1,000,000%. I literally have like thousands of hours in digital Shadowverse, hundreds and hundreds of ranked wins with Swordcraft. I love me some Swordcraft. Yeah, I'm excited. Another content creator friend of mine, shout out to Cosmic. If you play or like Japanese card games, you might know Cosmic. He and I are going to do some content, and I'm really looking forward to Shadowverse. I bought a case, and it should arrive tomorrow, and I'm excited.
Oh, nice. Well, so they didn't have a physical game before then. It was just the digital.
Okay, so I'll make this quick as well. A physical version launched in Japan only a little bit over a year ago, and I made 2 videos on it because I love Shadowverse. So I bought the Japanese version, just some starter decks and some booster boxes, just so I can open it up and be like, oh, I like this card in the digital game, blah blah blah. It was fun. It is very popular in Japan. Shadowverse Evolve is like, it gets like thousands of players for their events, like literally thousands of players. Their events are bigger than Flesh and Blood events.
Wow.
Which is nuts. It's like, I've seen the pictures. It's insane. It's super popular. The game is good. The game is real good. It's published by Bushiroad, which I'm not saying is a good thing. Bushiroad does not have a good history of handling games in general, but I love Shadowverse, and so I'm really looking forward to it. I think in Japan they're on set 5 or 6 now, so the US meta is very, very far behind. But that gives us insight of, we know what decks were popular and what decks won in the Japanese meta. So a lot of people are using that to evaluate how much cards are worth and stuff, and what cards are going to be viable for a very long time. So like you can kind of quote invest in like certain cards, and you know that they'll be good for like 5 sets, or whatever. So it's a weird, interesting thing. But the game's cheapish, medium cheapish to play. Competitive Swordcraft decks like $60, like literally top tier competitive Swordcraft decks like $60. The most expensive decks like 300. So
it's not too bad. Yeah.
But yep. So
nice.
I'm playing five card games right now. I have decks for all of them except for Shadowverse, of which I get my stuff tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. It has the potential to be my second most played game after Flesh and Blood. So
booyah.
Yeah, it's good. So that's that. That's
nice.
That's my little thing.
Fantastic.
I guess Scrooge.
My Arsenal, my week literally just been waiting for the pre-release and just wanting to play and open up some cards, even though it was only a few packs towards, it's just a draft, isn't it? And you weren't even supposed to. Well, we played with Dust Till Dawn cards in the draft. We didn't even get to open packs ourselves. We didn't get any packs for ourselves. It was a very strange thing.
Any packs either?
No, we just played with Dust Till Dawn draft. That was it.
That's weird.
So we got given two packs each, but then we opened those packs and then drafted them. Essentially,
I would have rare drafted. If I opened up a Majestic, I would have probably just taken the Majestic no matter what it was, or a cold foil. I mean, I was just like, I'm taking this cold foil. I don't care.
I did see a Prism Majestic, but I didn't take it because I wasn't playing Prism. I was playing the Via, so I took something else instead, because I'm never going to play Prism anyway. So I'll just like, yeah, I'll just give it to the next person. So I'm never going to play it. And I also did give out some little Dusk Till Dawn Spectral Shield tokens, like Go Again Gaming tokens that I've had done. So I gave them to everyone. So obviously they took them home. That's a nice little sort of memento of the day as well. Just been watching tennis this weekend, this whole week, because Wimbledon's on. So that's a classic UK thing that's going on at the moment.
I was gonna say that sounds very British of you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like me saying like, yeah, I've just been watching football.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, football all week because the Super Bowl's on.
Super Bowl. Yeah, exactly. I'm
not a sports guy, but if I did, it'd be basketball. By the way, I played basketball in high school.
Yeah.
But
I played a little bit of that as well.
Would you guys be? This is a live suggestion, I suppose. Would you guys be down for doing another? We did this for Outsiders, and I think we did it for Dynasty as well. Depending on how things line up, do you guys want to do like a stream, like a Dusk Till Dawn box opening stream, and just kind of like hang out and open up packs and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah! I pre-ordered my stuff. I have no idea when it's coming. I really hope it shows up like on time, but it might be one of the things where like I don't get it till like sometime next week, which would bite. But you know.
It's if you want to schedule something for next week sometime, we can do that. Yeah, I should have mine by then. So
sweet, that'll be fun. And
yeah.
I was also going to suggest, since you're not doing the Azalea Ringer, if you want to do the Skirmish testing, I guess, let me know. I can throw something together.
We could just do that. Yeah, I could just do a Azalea Blitz version instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be good. We could do that. It's supposed to be scheduled for tomorrow, but
that's true. Yeah.
Well, no, I never actually put a stream up because we didn't know what we was doing. But we can organise it for tomorrow, or because I know the Azalea Cult episode as well. Obviously, this is still being recorded. You know, it's just a bit behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes content organisation. But the Azalea Cult thing's also going to be featuring Kel on that as we speak about the new Bullseye Braces ban. Because there's a lot of thoughts and a lot of things that I think we can go into on there, which is more tailored to Azalea. So we'll keep all the good stuff for that. To explore that.
I'll say my opinion of it, which is not that doesn't have to do for Azalea, but kind of does, and that Azalea doesn't have shock charmers. So,
that's right. Yeah, Azalea has some common and rare arm pieces that she can use now.
She's got like some jank crap. I was actually really hoping there'd be like a random ranger piece or something like to throw Azalea a bone, or maybe we didn't talk about this at all. They announced the Professor's product, which is going to be a UPF box set thing that has like 4 heroes, and we know one of them is going to be a mech, a bard, and a guardian. And the reason I bring this up is because, like, I actually don't know. This is not like me pretending not to know. I don't know what the 4th hero is or class. And I was like, what if it is like a ranger and they give her like actually like different gloves, so you can actually don't have to use Hornet Sting or whatever the hell that piece of crap thing is called.
Oh yeah. Like that'd be sick.
Or like Bracers of Belief, which I think is probably what a lot of people are going to use. But anyway, yeah. So Ranger, maybe
we'll see. I mean, that's a completely like a whole nother tangent we could go on. Is that product and whether the cards in that product could be playable and constructed and all this sort of thing, because we just don't know at this point.
It actually ties in with Worlds, because in the Worlds announcement trailer, Prof was at the end, and he was like, if you watch the whole thing, he has like a little like 5-second stinger at the end.
That's right.
He's like tinkering with something. So I think that is. Well, no, I was gonna say that's gonna show what his product is, but his product comes out next month. It comes out in August, doesn't it? Yeah, it's like very soon.
It's like soon.
Yeah. So
maybe that announcement is unrelated to the round the table thing. Then maybe it's like an extra thing that he's doing.
Yeah, I guess.
For Worlds. Maybe.
Yeah, I guess. But I am very excited for Round the Table. I would very much love to do a Round the Table like gameplay thing with my buddies.
Yeah.
Az and Bill.
Yeah.
That would be super cool. Yeah. And also we could talk about it later. Not next week, because next week we have Brian Gottlieb on the podcast. Hey, by the way, Brian Gottlieb's going to be on the podcast next week. So
that's true.
you have like a couple days to at the time of this recording. If you're listening to us the day of, you have like a couple days to submit questions. If you email as some questions for Brian Gottlieb, we could possibly put them in the thing. And by email as, I mean email livinglegendspodcast@gmail.com. You should, to make it easier.
I am the email keeper of the Living Legends.
I'm just playing with this.
I don't know what that was. You're just playing with a blade. Pure channeling his inner Uzuri.
No, what I was thinking is, if you do that, put like, attention Brian Gottlieb or something in the title of the email, so we know that it's a question for Brian for the podcast. So we can like pull that out. And he's gonna come on and talk about Dusk Till Dawn. So any questions about Dusk Till Dawn or developing Flesh and Blood, or if you have any other questions for him that we haven't talked before, that would be super cool. And I think
so
we're kind of establishing this as kind of like a regular thing, like getting Brian on to talk about the newest Flesh and Blood set every time it comes out, and I think it can help get a little bit of insight. Oh, and another small thing that just happened because I was talking to both Brian and Kieran. If you don't know who Kieran is, he is another Flesh and Blood developer, formerly of the Session Blood podcast, but he is another Flesh and Blood developer. And maybe someday we'll have him on the channel as well. I think that'd be a really cool discussion.
Yeah.
Not only as a Flesh and Blood developer, but also he used to be in the podcast space. He was like, they were like my favorite Flesh and Blood podcast back in the day. So you can think of them as like your favorite Flesh and Blood podcast's favorite Flesh and Blood podcast, kind of thing. But anyway.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for today, really. We've obviously we got Brian on next podcast. So if you're on Twitter and what have you, there is a post that Kel's done where you can. I think we've retweeted it as well a few times, so you should be able to find it if you're following any of us on there, where you can submit a question on Twitter. But if not, then livinglegendspodcast@gmail.com is where you can submit questions to Brian, or just tell us comments and tales and stories of what you're getting up to as well. We all want to hear it. But that's pretty much it for today. So I'll throw it over to Bill first. Where can people find you?
Well, I am Bill from the Spike Feeders. And you can find me on Twitter, as long as Twitter is still a thing.
That's true.
At BillTSF. Once I set up on alternate platforms, I will also be at BillTSF on there, or whatever their version of that is. You can also find me on YouTube at Spike Feeders Fab. We do live edited gameplay content, and we are going to be releasing at some point very soon the Gauntlet series that we do with the new heroes. We're going to be basically putting that to the top of the priority list. So that should be coming out, within the next few weeks or a month or something. So definitely check that out and keep your eye on that if that's something that interests you.
Any hints or ideas as to what we can expect first, or is that still being worked out?
Well, I am probably going to build Prism first because I am who I am. But yeah, there is also, once we get that sorted, there is also some amount of rumblings for us putting together our first in-person UPF game.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying, yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
So that is going to be something else that is on the horizon. So something else to look forward to.
Nice. Fantastic.
Speaking of in-person games, Bill also was back on the Spike Feeders. And
yeah.
being as degenerate as I imagined, and I was like, hell yeah, man. I saw you play that Underworld Dreams into that Teferi's puzzle box, and I was like, hell yeah, do it. Get him.
I cannot believe that they removed my shield trait.
Eat like 20 something damage every turn or whatever it is. Oh
Brilliant.
man, that was good. We'll not spoil how it ended, so you should go watch it. Go see if Bill's degeneracy won the day. I really liked it because like you're playing like mono black, and I was like, it was still like pretty like gross, like yeah, you're not playing like Leovold or whatever with Teferi's puzzle box. They still get the cards. They still get the cards, right?
I just have to pay for them.
Yeah, just pay with
benevolent guard
with their life. With their life.
Yeah. So
good.
yeah, that was also really fun. And if you like Magic the Gathering content, you should definitely go check that out too, because it was actually a really fun game. And there's a second game in that same pod with slightly different decks, except for me. I was playing the same deck. That'll be coming out soon too. And you should also go check that out.
I'm looking forward to it.
Did you see the Matrix graphic?
I did. I did.
I'm sorry. I like to have fun with images sometimes. You know.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, people appreciate it. It's because on the Spike Feeders thumbnail, right? Everyone's wearing sunglasses, and I was just like, "This has got pure Matrix vibes." I just put like a green sort of Matrix rain background behind everyone's face, and yeah, I just had fun with it. But good stuff. Yeah, definitely go check out the main channel as well for Spike Feeders. And Kel, everyone knows who you are, but just show your stuff anyway.
No one cares.
Nobody cares about this guy.
No one cares. You can find me everywhere at Red Zone Rogue if you want. That's that. If you want to hear me gush about other card games, you probably already know my main channel. But yeah, maybe you're an audio only listener and you don't. So if you want to hear me talk about like Sorcery and Alpha Clash and a bunch of Shadowverse Evolve in the coming weeks, then there you go. I'll be doing kind of actually interesting things. This one I can announce. I'm doing coverage for a Grand Archive this month for the Canadian Regionals on the 28th or 29th. I don't remember which day, but I'll be doing that. Unfortunately, I will not be traveling to Canada. It is remote. Otherwise, I'd be like, yo, Bill, let's do something. But no,
but Canada's a large place. You can't just be like, hey, Bill, where are you?
Well, Bill's like central-ish, right? Like, isn't it like Winnipeg kind of like middle-ish, right?
It's like smack dab in the middle.
Yeah, and so this event I think is like the actual players. I think it's more on the eastern-ish side. I don't remember the exact name of the city. It's not like a big one. It's not like Ontario or something like that. But I don't really know much Canadian city names other than like the big ones or the ones more close to me. Like being from Portland, I know Vancouver, and I know the other one that's kind of up north of Vancouver. It's really nice. Yeah, whatever. It's an island.
Victoria?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. You are forgiven for not knowing Canadian geography.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm gonna do that and stuff. So
yeah,
very nice.
That's good. Awesome. But yeah, thank you very much for everybody who's tuned in. Whether you're listening to this or watching this back now in the future, thanks very much for watching or listening. And we're going to be doing the Brian Gottlieb one next, so make sure you check out that one out as well.
Could be good.
And again, if you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, send them to livinglegendspodcast@gmail.com as well. And if you're a non-store sponsor that wants to get involved, again, email us at livinglegendspodcast@gmail.com, and we can work something out. As long as you're not a store, because we have something in place with a store at the moment for that. So
yes. Specifically an LGS. So if you like, I don't know, like sell like Flesh and Blood shirts or merch or something like that, that's cool.
Yeah,
we could do that.
Let us know, because I want to know where that is. Let me know where that is. Azalea t-shirt, sign me up, baby. As long as she's not wearing the bullseye braces.
Yeah.
Well,
or anything for that matter. Anyway,
you can just play Blitz as that's the solution. The solution is just play Blitz.
Could just play Blitz.
Is Azalea naked in Blitz?
No, but she can wear the bracers. She can wear the bullseye bracers, or nothing at all if that's your that's your prerogative.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. Power to you.
Exactly.
Nothing at all. Nothing at
Nothing at
all.
all. These boots were made for walking. Anyway,
All right.
we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Is.
That was a wild one.